I used to laugh when my grandma swore her cat, Mittens, could sense when a storm was coming. She'd say, "Just watch her tail, dear. If it flicks twice, and she hides under the bed, better grab an umbrella." I always thought it was one of those cute old lady superstitions. Just a charming little story. Until it started happening to me. It began one late afternoon. The air outside was perfectly calm, warm, peaceful, not a single dark cloud in the sky. I was just sitting on the couch, mindlessly scrolling through my phone, when I noticed my cat, Luna, acting strangely. Her ears were twitching like little radar dishes, her tail puffed up just slightly, and she began pacing in these tight, anxious circles near the window. Then, she just froze, staring out into the distance as if she could see something invisible moving toward us. I looked outside. Nothing. No wind, no distant thunder, just complete silence. An hour later, the sky turned a menacing shade of gray. Within minutes, heavy rain started pounding against the roof, a sudden, violent downpour that came out of nowhere. And Luna had already disappeared under the couch, long before the first drop even hit the ground. It was eerie. I laughed it off the first time. It had to be a coincidence, I told myself. But then, it kept happening. A week later, the exact same thing. Luna was in the middle of eating her dinner when she suddenly stopped mid-bite, lifted her head as if listening to something I couldn't hear, and then bolted straight to a quiet corner of the room. 5 minutes later, the first crack of thunder. Another time, she climbed onto the high window ledge, pressed her little nose right against the glass, and let out this long, low, mournful meow. That evening, the temperature plummeted, and a cold rain poured down for hours. I started writing these moments down in a notebook, thinking maybe I was just imagining patterns where there were none. But after the 5th or 6th time, even my own skepticism couldn't deny it anymore. Every single time Luna acted strange, pacing, hiding, or meowing at nothing, the weather would shift dramatically soon after. That's when I remembered my grandma's words about her cat, Mittens. She used to say, "Cats feel the world differently. They listen to things our hearts forgot how to hear." Back then, I'd just nod politely, thinking it was sweet but silly. But now, those words haunted me. So, I decided to do some digging. I started researching whether cats could actually sense changes in the weather, and what I found left me absolutely stunned. It turns out, this isn't just folklore, it's science. Cats have incredibly sensitive inner ears, far more delicate and sophisticated than ours. This allows them to detect tiny, almost imperceptible changes in barometric pressure and subtle low-frequency vibrations in the air that happen hours before a storm even begins to form. In other words, while we look outside and see clear skies, our cats might already be feeling the entire world shifting around them. It's like they retuned into the planet's quiet whispers long before it ever decides to speak in thunder. Their bodies are literally living, breathing barometers. But here's where things got personal again, and this is the moment that truly convinced me. One night, around 2 a.m., I woke up for no reason. I looked over and saw Luna sitting perfectly still by the window. Her eyes were wide open, her ears tilted forward, her tail completely motionless. Outside, there was only silence and darkness. Then, I heard a faint, deep rumble that seemed to roll across the entire horizon. A few seconds later, a brilliant flash of lightning silently illuminated the sky. I watched her closely, expecting her to get spooked, but she didn't flinch. Instead, she slowly turned her head toward me, and blinked. A slow, deliberate blink, as if to say, "See, I told you so." I swear, in that moment, it felt like she understood something profound about the world that was far beyond my comprehension. Days passed, and I began to trust her instincts more than any weather app on my phone. One morning, I was about to leave for work. I had my keys in my hand, ready to walk out the door, when Luna suddenly started scratching at the door and crying. At first, I thought she wanted to go outside. But then I noticed her tail was puffed up like a bottle brush, and her ears were pinned back against her head. Something was deeply wrong. My gut told me to listen. So, I stayed home that morning. 30 minutes later, a severe storm warning blared across my phone, flash flooding, intense lightning, the works. If I had left when I planned to, I would have been caught right in the middle of it, driving on flooded roads. That was the day I stopped calling it a coincidence. But Luna's abilities seemed to go beyond just rain and thunder. She could sense emotional weather, too. Whenever I felt low or anxious, she'd mysteriously appear beside me, often before I even consciously realized how down I was. When I was sick with the flu, she curled up quietly against my chest, purring with this deep, resonant hum, her own form of healing, I guess. And sometimes, when the whole house just felt heavy or stagnant, she'd sit by the window with her eyes half closed, almost like she was meditating, resetting the energy around us. It's a strange thing to say, but it felt like she wasn't just reacting to the world, she was fundamentally connected to it, as if some ancient, instinctual part of her still remembered a language that we humans have long since forgotten how to speak. I started thinking back to Grandma's cat, Mittens, how she'd vanish before every storm without fail, only to reappear afterward, completely calm and composed. Maybe my grandma wasn't just a superstitious old lady. Maybe she understood something that science is only just beginning to explain, that our animal companions, especially cats, are deeply in tune with nature's invisible rhythms. After months of watching Luna, I realized something even deeper. She didn't just predict the weather. She prepared for it emotionally, mentally, and physically. When storms were approaching, she'd find a safe, enclosed space but remain calm within it. When the air felt heavy and oppressive, she'd conserve her energy and sleep more. And when the sunlight finally returned, she'd stretch out in a warm patch on the floor, explore the house with renewed curiosity, and act as if she was recharging her own batteries from the earth itself. Now, whenever Luna starts acting strangely, I don't question it, I don't ignore it. I stop what I'm doing. I check the skies. I listen. Sometimes the clouds roll in, and sometimes they don't, but either way, I know she's never wrong about the fact that something is changing. Maybe cats aren't just furry little meteorologists. Maybe they renature as quiet messengers, little guardians who feel the pulse of the planet in their bones, and try to warn us, in their own subtle, mysterious ways. And now, every time I hear the distant roll of thunder, I think of my grandma and her cat, Mittens. And I can almost imagine them watching from somewhere, smiling, and saying, "I told you so." Because now, I don't laugh anymore. Now I watch. And every time Luna flicks her tail, I grab my umbrella and whisper, "Thanks, my little weather wizard." Maybe cats don't just predict storms. Maybe they feel them in the same deep, intuitive way they feel us. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the mysterious world of our feline friends. If you have a cat that does something similar, I would love to hear your story in the comments below. Do not forget to like this video and subscribe for more content that explores the incredible bond we share with our pets. See you next time.